Hi, folks. Yep, I'm running a little late tonight. A little detour out here on Lake Hazel, coming in off down. It's all right. Happens. Road construction, improving the roads, making sure that it's a little inconvenient right now, but it makes things better. You open it up, you get better traffic, you get better flow. And the roads aren't torn up. Messing up your car. An awful lot of us like the freedom of our cars, being able to pick up, go where we want to, whenever we want to. And roads are part of that big process. So occasionally we have to put up with the little inconveniences. So, my questions, what do you guys want to talk about? Don't rush. Okay. So, I've got different things that have come up over the past couple of days. Some of them more important than others. So we got an event coming up on Sunday, and there's going to be a Tree of Life event. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, Pittsburgh, there was a mass shooting. 11 people died. One of them was an elderly individual. Died in a synagogue shooting. They survived the Holocaust. Came all the way here. Spending an evening with their families, and somebody with hate in their heart showed up, killed a bunch of people. It's sad. But Sunday, boys is going to get together, with members of the community, all sects. That's SCCT, not the other one, you guys. I know where your minds are at, but
all sects are welcome.
Yes. All genders are welcome. Okay. Coming together, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Mormon, atheist, at the Anne Frank Memorial. Now, it's a great little memorial that we got down just off the Greenbelt next to the Boise City Library. Great place. A nice little fountain down there. Awesome scenery, awesome views. But it's going to be a little time for remembrance, and a sense of community building. Not too different from what we did, a couple months ago with regards to the community issue where the man had the mass stabbing of refugees in the apartment complex there. But get together, show community support, be part of the community. We are them, they are us. And it's times like this when we need to stand strong against hate, because hate divides us. Hate makes us think we're different than them. And that's not true. We're all human. Most of us, worship him in different ways. Everybody has their own approach to it. Whether you're Islamic and you show up on the Sabbath and you do your bowing to Mecca, every morning, to the birthplace of Christ or to the birthplace of Muhammad, depending on which form of Islam you ascribe to. Whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, Catholic, LDS, we all worship God in our own way. Some of you will go, yeah, but that's not my God. Well, that's debatable. I personally think we all worship the same God. One God for all mankind. We all just choose different ways to acknowledge his existence, or hers. And I'm a little partial to the concept of a female God myself, but, but it is what it is. Robert here being a little smart ass. God doesn't have any sex. Well, he didn't have any sex.
No, he doesn't have a sex.
God is genderless. Let's go that way. God is genderless. No, I don't. But, get together, show support for each other. So that's coming up on Sunday. We have a really robust LGBTQ community here in Boise. They got a couple things going on this weekend, doing a rock the vote and get out and vote for the people that support them. They're out voting their interests. They're voting for people that appreciate individual rights, individual liberties. That lets them be who they want to be who they are. We might not see them the way they see themselves, but that's okay. Let them be them, and they'll let us be us. And remember, we are them and they are us. We're all one human race. So,
And on Monday, they have the Million Man March.
Monday, we got the Million Man March, Million Man Mask March. So they got that going on. And that's mainly to protest the corporatism, the statism, the rampant violation of our rights that have been occurring over the last 17 years, ever since we passed the Patriot Act and the War Powers Act.
Well, that's starting at the Anne Frank Memorial also.
And that's starting Anne Frank Memorial. I'll start at the Anne Frank Memorial tomorrow. Do they have a time for that yet?
12 to 2, I believe. And they also have clothing there.
So Million Man March. They also got a couple other things, or Million Mask March. They got a couple other things going. They got a clothing drive going on to help with the homeless for this winter, as well as, other impoverished members of our community who aren't actually able to afford warm clothing come this winter. It's a strong drive, very youth-centric, child-centric. So if you can, show up. Even if you don't agree with them for the march, show up, take time, donate. Because a lot of that stuff is going to go to people in the community in need.
And there's no profit in it. It's not.
No profit, none whatsoever.
It's not a non-profit.
It's not the Red Cross. It's not St. Vincent's Thrift. It's not Deseret Industries. There's no profit margin on this stuff. They take your stuff, they turn around and gift it to someone else. All voluntarism. All voluntarism. They're doing the good work without any expectation of reward. So, again, you got things to donate, you got an extra coat, you got a couple extra sweaters, your kids have outgrown something over the last year, stop by, drop it off. They got that going on starting tomorrow at noon. Anne Frank Memorial, or Monday. That's Monday. The Million Man Mask March, Monday, starting at noon, from noon to 2. Stop by, drop off your extra stuff. So, what else we got? Who's paying attention to me? Who's watching? Give me something good to talk about, folks. So, things Robert brought up the other week. How's the gentleman doing with up in Kootenai County? They get him out on bail yet?
Actually, I haven't followed it since then. I believe he is out of jail, though.
So he finally got out of jail. And we got a couple people out there that are thinking, well, we don't want castle doctrine in the state of Idaho. Our self-defense laws are good enough. As long as you can prove self-defense, that's one of those things. You got to spend the night in jail after you shot somebody who broke into your house, and that's just sort of adding insult to injury. A little re-victimization going on there. That said, I understand why some of the people on the other side go, well, somebody died. Maybe you need to take a little time to think about what happened. I think we need to find a middle ground. First of all, who the hell, what expectation of right to life does an individual have when they're so willing to violate your rights, invade your house?
Well, I can tell you, I didn't shoot the guy, and it took me 2 weeks getting over kind of the emotional thing that went into
Right.
the possibility that I was going to blow this guy's head off. And I didn't shoot him. I shot warning shots, and it still affected me. So,
right? It's enough to go to jail, but I mean,
shot anybody. It's not easy.
it is nerve-wracking. The thing is, I think most people in Idaho, most people in the world, really have a difficult time shooting another human being. Extremely difficult time. You know, time we spend in the military. I got Vietnam War veterans who talk to me all the time, you know, saying about how was their time in Vietnam. You know, they get into a firefight. You know, nobody on either side actually got shot because nobody actually wanted to bring the barrel down low enough to actually hit somebody else. You know, end up spending all their time, all their ammo, shooting it over each other's heads. You know, even people who are trained to kill each other have trouble killing a fellow human being. You know, especially when faced with the reality of it. Yeah, so I honestly don't think most people in America have a murderous heart. They don't. You know, but at the same time, I'm not interested in seeing them lose their ability to defend themselves from those who do. So let's admit it. There are killers among us. There are wolves who walk among us. It's a dangerous world out there. And the human monsters aren't any less dangerous than, you know, the animals. Matter of fact, I actually think they're worse than animals in a lot of cases. Reason why is because human monsters, you know, we let them loose among us. They walk around, they exploit us, they abuse us, and in some cases, they do end up killing us. This is one of those things where I think we need to get back to justice reform. Because right now, we got violent criminals that are getting out of prison before the guy who, you know, your weekend amateur pharmacologist who facilitated you getting your self-medication, you know, on the weekends. You know, he's in prison for longer than some of these murderers and abusers. We need to fix that. We don't have enough room in our prisons for the real criminals because we're putting people away who, you know, just run a little amateur black market hour on the weekends. Or in some cases, just smoking. You know, they stashed up for the month because they weren't sure when their dealer was getting back from Mexico. And when they got busted, they had too much on hand. Yeah, next thing you know, they're on their way to the penitentiary for 5 years. And meanwhile, the guy who, you know,
molested a kid gets 1 to 5.
Molested a kid gets 2. Yeah. I guess the sentence actually varies from 1 to 5, but I mean, really, exploitation of a minor? Seriously, exploitation of a minor. Probably one of the most serious offenses against the future of humanity. All you give him is 1 to 5? Dude, come on. We got to do better. We got to fix our justice system. We got to fix our sentencing. You know, we got to remove the black markets in America. So, what else we got going on? Yeah. What is it? Today's the 1st. So in 5 days, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 5 days, the election's going to happen. You get a chance to make your decision on which way Idaho's going. Now, it sucks because in a lot of cases right now, Idaho's stuck with a duopoly. Meaning you either get more of the same or you vote for something different. Sucks because some of that different, just a little too different. You know, some of it's not that different, but it's different enough. When it comes down to it, it's like, what really scares you more? 4 more years of the same thing we've been living through for the past 25, 30 years in Idaho? More of that downward trend? We want to try something a little bit different.
Well, I just read a report today that says 56% of the people from a Gallup poll favor a third party.
right? Everybody wants a third party.
But
Everybody.
they vote third party because they might be wasting their vote, which is to me,
56% of Americans say we need a third party. 10% of those 56 say, but I'm not going to vote for them. Dude, really? Come on. What's the point of running a third party if you're not going to vote for them? You know, take a little time. Be brave. You know, those candidates on the third party, like myself, we put a lot on the line just to put our name on the ballot. Oh, yeah, maybe not. It only cost me $30 to put my name on the ballot.
But that's not the end of it.
No, that's not the end of it. You know, so in the last 6 months, actually in the last 2 months alone, I spent close to $1,000 out of my pocket. Yeah, that wasn't donations from you guys. That wasn't money from the state. That wasn't money from, you know, some corporation out there that says, hey, I want a libertarian candidate to run, you know, to win. No, corporations don't want libertarian candidates to win. You know, the PACs don't want libertarian candidates to win. You know, you want libertarian candidates to win. You're just scared to vote for one because you're afraid of throwing away your vote. Well, I think we need to get past that. You know, we have third-party candidates. They're willing to step out there, put their name on the line. You know, and it's like, do you really want to pick between the lesser of two evils? You know, this guy's more of the same. What's that going to mean to me? You know, I've been doing the same for the last 25 years. How's that working out for me?
Well, and with any third-party candidate,
This guy's
more
different.
of a voice.
This guy's different. He's a little too different. I don't think his values are the same as mine. Do I really want to give up this nice, comfortable downward slope that I'm on for this unknown wild ride? Anyway, when it came down to it, who was it? Ralph Waldo Emerson. You know, when I came to a fork in the road, I chose the path less traveled. You know, be brave. Be daring. You know, some of you got an option. You actually have three choices in front of you right now. You got the right, you got the left, and then you got liberty. What's important to you? Yeah, get into the discussion today. You know, what's important? You know, the left state, the right state, little personal freedom. I know, is freedom really that scary, guys? Personal responsibility. Is personal responsibility really that scary these days? That we're going to sit back and let the state tell us how to run our lives? I don't know. Some people are pretty scared. In some cases, I don't blame them. You know, despite the fact that we are experiencing the lowest crime rate ever in America right now. Everybody thinks somebody's going to break into their house this weekend. Dude, no.
Big dogs.
Highest crime rate ever was when I was a kid, back in the 70s. Highest. Burglaries, rapes, murders. Highest crime rate ever. We thought those were the good old days when we could leave our doors open because we could trust our neighbors. Well, folks, you can still trust your neighbors. You know, it's like the news, the media, everything that goes on. Make it seem like it's right next door. It's not. Get off of the laptops. Get off of the social media. Get away from CNN. Get away from Fox. Meet your neighbors. Understand that your neighbors are good people. You can trust them. Well, you can trust most of them.
You can find out which ones are the bad ones too.
And you also can figure out which ones are the bad ones. You know, we actually track some of them these days.
You'd be surprised if you ever go on there.
Yeah. I mean, we know where the bad guys are. Police know where the bad guys are. In some cases, depending on what the crime is, when they get out, they have to register. And in Idaho, they tell you exactly where they are, at least where they're supposed to be. where they were last registered as living. We got a couple that have dropped off the rolls here recently. If you're paying attention, you'll understand, hey, guy's supposed to be registered. He hasn't updated his living since, so he's in violation of his parole or probation. And they can't find him. Don't know where he went. Don't know who he is these days. But we pay attention to that. We pay attention to the violent offenders. We don't keep them in prison long enough, especially with the recidivism rate among violent offenders.
It's like 90% of them reoffend.
Child molesters, 90% reoffend. We put them in, send them up for 2 years, they get out, they get back out, they reoffend. It's a messed up world we live in. But the thing is, most of our neighbors, they're good people. They're good people. They go to work, they come home, they love their families, they take care of their kids. I'll get together for an evening at the local pub, local bar, sit down, have a drink, have a few beers. Come down, join us, have some pizza. So, as long as we're at it, as long as we got some time here, Prop 1. Who likes to gamble? Yeah, most of you like to gamble. What's your favorite kind of gambling? Blackjack? Awesome, here comes the pizza. Set it up right there, thank you. Awesome. Anyway. See, I'm down here at Garbanzo's. They just delivered the pizza. We got got a meat lovers, kind of everything. Got a veggie. And look at those tomatoes. Awesome. Garbanzo's, great pizza place here. So, what sort of things do you want to see in your community? Thanksgiving or Halloween. We just went through Halloween. I was a little disappointed by the turnout this year. We don't have people walking around door to door like we used to, not when I was a kid. It used to be everybody in the neighborhood was out. Dad stayed home while Mom walked around all the neighbors. Dad handed out the candy. Mom escorted the kids around the block. You saw everybody that night. Everybody was out. Over in my community last night, it was nearly empty. Had all 5 groups of kids show up. A little bit disappointed. What is it we're doing that we're not doing Halloween anymore? What are you guys doing with your kids? Are you doing the trunk or treating things? Saw a couple of those pop up over the weekend. First Congregation, they had their trunk or treat program on Saturday. Youth Ranch had their trunk or treat. It's been like about a dozen or so all across the valley in different places with different organizations. Lions Club had their trunk or treat. Now what you're doing, you're taking your kids to trunk or treat. That way, you keep an eye on it. It's nice. It's bright. Why are we doing that these days? We just don't trust our neighbors that much. Because we spend too much time online. We don't know who our neighbors are. Yeah, it happens. Yep. Come on. Just give me something to talk about. Because right now I'm running out of ideas here, guys. Robert, what's big these days? Do we know what happened since we last talked on Tuesday?
Nothing I can think of, but I've been kind of trying to take a little bit of a break. Oh, well,
yeah.
Important thing, I got an attorney.
Right, CPS. So, Child Protective Services out exposing CPS, op exposed CPS. The reason why is because CPS is out there using administrative actions in order to kidnap children. Okay. I don't necessarily understand why. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people who work with CPS, work with child protection, work with child advocacy programs. You know, they're out there. They're good people and want to do the right things in a lot of cases. You know, they go out, they take the time to make sure the children are taken care of, taken, protected. You know, but every so often you end up with people in that organization that take it too far. You know, they don't understand the needs of the children that they're trying to protect. You know, they go out, they make some assumptions that are inappropriate. You know, they take the word of one doctor. You know, one of the big news stories recently, you know, a couple was having trouble with their child. They took the child in to get a doctor to examine him. Right? Kinship care. It's important, right, Daniel? Okay, but this couple, they went into the doctor. The child had a medical problem. Well, that doctor decided that they needed to leave that child in the hospital, and they're going, well, no, I want a second opinion. So they turned around and left the hospital and went to a second doctor. Second doctor took a look at the child and went, okay, based on the way you guys care for your child, I feel it's safe for you to take it home. Just bring him in for regular, you know, checkups. You know, make sure that heart beats right, heart rhythm's right, and that you're feeding and the child's eating properly. You know, next day the cops show up with a warrant and a CPS person and a statement from the doctor who made the first assessment, you know, and completely ignored the second opinion. And now they're in court fighting for custody of their own child again. You know, administrative overreach happens a lot, happens too much. You know,
Everything's confidential, so you can't.
Right? And everything's confidential.
You can go to jail.
You know why? Reason why is because they want to protect the child. So when they take a child from a family, they won't tell the family where the child is. Now, in a lot of cases, I understand the reasoning behind that. You know, you're removing the child from a dangerous situation. I got it. Problem is one of those things is if we can save one child, what we do is worth it, right? As long as we can save that one child, what we do is worth it. Problem is the way they've set up the organization and the structure, they do more damage to more children than the children they actually save. And it's all administrative overreach in the name of the safety of the child. You know, they don't work inside the family anymore. Somebody walks in and they decide that their opinion, in some of these cases, it's a social worker who has no children of their own, who's never raised a child. You know, this is what I learned in college. You know, they come in and they're not interested in working with the family for the greater good of the child. They've already decided that living with their mom and dad is the worst possible place in the world for that child to be right then. It's not. Robert, what are the stats of children that go through the foster care system and end up in the sex trade?
About 86% of the children that are in sex trafficking come from foster homes. And that's not counting the children that just disappear. I think
right.
Nationwide we have over 4,000 children that have just disappeared. Like they no longer track them. They have no clue where they're at. They're not looking for them. They're just gone.
When they go out and they take polls of all of these young kids working on the streets selling sex. No, selling sex. You know, working the I-5 corridor from Vancouver clear down to San Jose. And they go out and take surveys of those. 86 of those kids were in the foster care program at one point or another in their lives. 86%.
Because America's missing and
Good.
exploited children. You know, it's
Yeah, and then there's the missing ones. You know, the ones CPS just loses track of. I mean, seriously, you're going to take a kid and then lose track of them? Come on, folks. It's not the way things work.
That's the way it's supposed to work.
Well, it's not the way it's supposed to work.
Well,
We all know that's what happens.
it's not necessarily
Yeah.
the people in this system that are as much of the problem as the system itself. There are a lot of
Right.
good people in there. It's just the system
A
itself.
lot of good people.
creates it.
A lot of good people. I understand that. There's a lot of good cops. There's a lot of good people involved in CPS. There's a lot of good people involved in child advocacy. They got involved in these programs because of where their heart is. It's in the right place. But the system they're working inside of is broke. You know, for every 20 or so people that get involved in the program for the right reason, you end up with 2 who are in the program for the wrong reason.
Well, and the people that are in
And
it.
you know how long it takes them to actually catch the narcissists that are in for the wrong reasons? You know,
And the system is set up so that the good people who are in the system can't stand it. You would be surprised how many
Right.
ex-foster parents and caseworkers actually support me wholeheartedly because they know the system is bad. And they
how many people quit working the program? People who had their hearts in the right place end up quitting those programs because the system's just too broke.
They can't handle it emotionally, and I don't blame them.
You know, good people, hearts in the right place, can't keep working the system because the system's just too broke.
They would
Yeah.
stop incentivizing adopting kids out to strangers. That would help a lot, I think.
Right? So it's one of the things. We incentivize adoption of children or fostering children. We incentivize it. We pay people to foster children. Why are we doing that? Shouldn't they be doing this out of the goodness of their heart? And that's what most of them got into it for. You know, most of them had good houses, good homes, you know, one solid income coming in, one person who's able to stay home and actually raise the children. You know, these are people who are well placed. You know, why are we incentivizing that by saying, hey, here's an extra $500 a month in order to take care of this kid?
Well, put the numbers into perspective, and feel free to look this up. You know, I can't post the links right now.
Right?
But the standard foster care license covers 8 children. And you get approximately, if the kids have absolutely no problems, they're not on drugs, they're not a behavior problem, you can actually replace, I believe it was a $50,000 a year income. That's non-taxed. Plus, you get all the medical pay,
$50,000 a year to take care of 8
all the
kids.
babysitting.
$50,000 a year.
It's. I do believe that the foster parents should get some money for what they're doing because it does cost them money to do so. The problem is that the people who are in it for a career and don't really care, they're in it for the money. There's a difference because some people, they want to help children out, and
Right?
that's a noble cause.
But we got people who are in it for the money.
Yeah,
They're not in it for the kids. They're not in it for the betterment of
or
society.
the power. They like to have the power.
They do it because they like access to kids and they like money.
Did you know that
You know, they don't like kids.
being a
They
pedophile-
like access to kids.
being a pedophile in a lot of cases does not disqualify you from being a foster parent. If it's, I think it's over 5 years or 7 years, the last time you were convicted, you can become a foster parent. So they're actually giving kids to people who,
So did you hear that? You can be a convicted pedophile and be a foster parent after 7 years. How's that for screwed up? We got living, you know, loving couples in the state. You know, 2 men, 2 women, loving couples. They love each other. They're married. They're respectful. But because they're gay, we don't actually allow them to be foster parents in some cases. Yeah. We'd rather give, you know, endangered children to pedophiles than homosexual couples. Dude, come on. Really? We can do better than that. We got to do better than that. You know,
Well, and when it comes down to it, a lot of it has to do with there are family members that are available, but the department does not accept those family members.
And this goes back to what you're talking about here, Daniel. It's about kinship care. You know, okay, maybe mom and dad aren't the best person at the time. But grandma and grandpa are still in the scene. Kid's got an uncle or an aunt, got someone in the family who's actually in a good place, you know, to take over and pick up the kids and house them while mom and dad get clean, you know, or whatever it is they need. You know, maybe they lost the house. You just need some place for the kids to live. You know, aunt and uncle or grandparents are willing to put up the kids. They just don't have enough room for everybody. For whatever reason, whatever else is going on with mom and dad, yeah, they're just toxic.
Well, and if you look at the,
You know, do you know how many hoops an aunt or uncle has to jump through for kinship care after CPS gets involved? God, it's insane. You know, this is family. And those children are stuck in some other foster care program for 6 months while CPS does a review of the suitability. Right. Understand nothing's perfect, man. You know?
well, and if you look at the bonus, the bonus system that incentivizes foster kids going to strangers, if you look at during the crash, that's when the highest bonuses were accepted by the state of Idaho. I think it's 1.8 million or 1.5 or 1.8 million was received in 2009, right after the crash. So these parents aren't necessarily
1.8 million.
They're broke.
People are getting kicked out of their houses, bankruptcies, repossessions. And the state of Idaho is incentivizing perfect strangers to come in and take somebody else's kids. We can do better, man. We can do better. We got it. Administrative overreach. We need to reel that in. Because in some of these cases, some of these administrative agencies, they shouldn't exist. They just shouldn't. You know, yet somehow we've managed to give them enough power to come in and wreck people's lives. Now, a bureaucrat who doesn't answer to anybody, I mean, does not answer to anybody,
Isn't voted into office.
isn't voted into office,
Appointed.
isn't elected, you know, the ability to review them and determine whether or not they're actually any good in their job. I mean, the state employee union protects these people. You know, you can't fire a bad CPS worker because the state employee union protects them.
Oh, and it's actually more likely.
I mean, talk about of all the places where a union actually, you know, Idaho, right to work, anti-union state. And of all the places to actually have a union where there's power, and it's the state employees, so your CPS workers and your administrative agents that like to throw their weight around, well, they're the ones you can't touch because of a union? You know, seriously. Why are there unions in the Capitol when there aren't unions for workers? When there aren't unions for, you know, our trades?
Because unions work, and the government knows it.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to the whole cronyism thing. Right? You can't even serve a public official. Yeah. Who's going to walk up to him with a warrant? Who's going to walk up to him with a writ? Say, hey, you need to appear in court. Yeah. So, hey, thanks for showing up, Lorraine. So, 5 days. 5 days. So what you got? 5 days, and you get to decide the next 2 years of Idaho. Well, actually, it's the next 4. The reason why is because you're electing the executive branch. You know, Idaho midterms, we're electing the executive branch. We got 7 people who will be serving the state of Idaho for 4 years. Yeah, the people who are in the legislature, in the Senate, all 105 of us. Yeah. Right? You can't walk in with a warrant because you can't get past the guards with it. Completely understand that, Lorraine.
And Lorraine's actually done it before. She knows.
Yeah. We can't have government officials immune from warrants, immune from being served, in order to appear in court, in order to discuss, things associated with their cases. Yeah, so. Where was I going with this before?
Talk about CPS. And then,
Yeah, we covered CPS. We're good with that. Unions, state union versus employee unions. We need to get the employee unions back. We need to get the trade unions back. We need to rebuild their strength.
the importance of this election.
The importance of this election. And midterm elections. 7 elected officials. Governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, treasurer, schools, school superintendents. Let's see, we got the state attorney. We got one more office. What's office number 7?
I don't know.
Anyway, we got 7 offices. 5 of those right now. 5 of them. Again, 5. Count them. 5. 5 days from now, there are 5 executive offices that have women running for. 3 of them are guaranteed to have a woman sitting in them. Okay? Our state treasurer. She's a Republican. She's the incumbent. Nobody's running against her. She's getting reelected. That's going to happen. And 2, superintendent of schools. You got 2. You got Cindy Wilson. You got Sherry Ibarra. Sherry Ibarra is the incumbent. She's the one who's been running things for the last 4 years after Luna decided not to run again. And Cindy Wilson, she's the new girl. That seat's going to a woman. One way or another. 2 seats going to a woman. 3. You got Kristen Collin. You got Janice McGeechan. Both of them women. Admittedly, I got a favorite in that one. I like Kristen. She's a bad. Right? Definitely, Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine. Please share it. Number 3, we got Kristen versus Janice. And Janice is from up north. She's got her following. She's got her loyalties. But she's hardcore. She's been in the state political scene for 10 years now. She's actually served in various offices in the state for 10 years. She is a career Idaho politician. You got Kristen Collins. She's brand new. She did her time in the Army. She got out. She spent 20 years in tech. This is the first time she's ever run for office. First time she's ever run for office. It's scary for her, man. It's scary. I understand that some of you may be a little bit scared too because, well, she's not a career politician. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. She's got years of leadership experience. Okay, so it's not in politics. She understands what it is to lead, what it is to sacrifice. That's 3. 3 of those seats are guaranteed to go to women. 3 of them guaranteed to go to women. Hey, Secretary of State. You got Jill Humble running against Lawrence Steny. And I really don't have a dog in that fight. I had a chance to meet both of them. Both of them are decent people. Lawrence Steny, he's the incumbent. Jill, you want the tried and true? Do you want to try something different? To you, make the choice. There's the big one. Number 5. 5th woman running for the executive branch. We got Paulette Jordan running against Brad Little. That's a scary one, man. That's a scary one. We know what we got with Brad. He's another career Idaho politician.
Well,
He's been around forever, man.
one thing that I don't know if you've heard about it. I believe it's District 32. Chad Christensen actually won the primary beyond the ballot as a Republican. So his opponent, instead of accepting his defeat, has now actually come out against him and is running as either a write-in or
write-in candidate. 32 write-in candidate. Anyway, so back to number 5. You got Paulette Jordan versus Brad Little. Brad Little has been a politician in the state of Idaho for a long time. He's been lieutenant governor for 8 years. Before that, he spent some time in the legislature. 7th generation Idahoan. Got it. Paulette's got him beat. You got to admit, though, when you're laying claim to being 7th generation Idahoan versus, someone who's indigenous, whose ancestors have been here, for 20, 30, since they crossed the Bering Strait, or however our Native Americans got here. I'm not necessarily sure that's something you want to be staking a claim on. But you got those two people. We know what we got with Brad. We get more of the same. Paulette, she did 2 terms in the legislature. She actually quit halfway through her second one. So she's only done 1.5, really. She's really pretty new to this whole political thing, and she's running for governor. And that's scary. She's got a lot riding on her shoulders because of this. I recognize that it's different. It's scary. She's got some ideas. They're the kind of ideas that are either dangerous or they're going to work extremely well. It just depends on whether or not we're brave enough to try them. 5 days. 5 days. You get to decide the future of Idaho.
Oh, and there are also two others running for governor too.
We still got the other 2.
And
Walter Bays. Walter Bays is running as a constitutionalist guy. What was it? 4 years ago, he ran as Republican. Saw a really interesting debate between him and Butch and 2 others for the Republican primary. But Walter's running as a constitutionalist this year. We got Bev Beck. She's your libertarian candidate. Right? You got it, Lorraine. Walter, he's a funny guy. He's a widow now. Last time he ran, his wife was still alive. Since then, his wife's died. Fair enough, Darson. I understand everybody has their personal views on this. What it is they feel is important coming this election. I'm very pro-gun myself. I definitely think that we need to eliminate some of the restrictions that are out there. Second Amendment's a big issue. I'm not sure exactly how Paulette's going to be able to affect anything along those lines. But, I understand. Your 2 choices. Actually, you got 4 choices for governor. You got Bev. Bev's very pro-gun. Took her forever to get her survey into Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. I think she finally got it in last week or something because she finally showed up as 100%. You got Bev back. She's 100% pro-gun. She's your libertarian candidate. You got Brad Little, who hasn't returned it. So we still don't know exactly what his views are on some of those key issues for Idaho Second Amendment Alliance that they brought up. So actually, your two lead candidates, the one that's sitting like at 38 and the other one that's sitting at like 35, neither one of them have gotten real strong gun records from the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Neither one of them. Walter Bays, he's come out 100% pro-gun. Bev Beck, he's come out. She's come out 100% pro-gun. Yeah. That's right, Bev Beck. She's a woman. She's your libertarian candidate. There's another female candidate for the executive branch. Oh, you got Lisa Marie. She's actually a qualified write-in right now. Yeah, well, Republicans decided not to elect her, so when she put her name in for the write-in, she didn't have a lot of funding to get her message out. Of course, it's the same problem Bev's having. You know, she doesn't have a lot of funding to get her message out either, so not a lot of people are very aware of exactly where either one of them stand.
That was a delegate for the Libertarian Party, and I don't even know what's about her. People ask me all the time about her. I'm like,
right? Who's Bev Beck? Well, I don't know.
She goes by Angel.
Bev Angel Beck. She's a veteran. You know, her and Kristen, the only two veterans running for the executive branch right now. Bev's running for governor. She's a pilot. Used to fly C-130s for the Air National Guard. You know, so she's got veteran experience. She's been around the block a little bit. You know, she's an officer. You're not flying planes unless you're an officer. So you got her experience. So it's not like she's got a shortage of experience. She's very pro-gun. But we just haven't seen enough of her message out there right now. You know? I mean, seriously, you still got 5 days, folks. You still got 5 days. League of Women Voters, they got their smart vote. Your voter protection, League of Women Voters, Statesmen, they got their policies out there, so you can actually sit down. League of Women Voters. Great site, by the way, if you can find your way to it. Because what it is, they'll actually let you compare your candidates side by side. You know, go down the list of all of the different issues that they have, you know, what their stance are, what their positions are, so you can get a good understanding of whether or not those candidates line up with your values. Yeah, so take some time. There's plenty of resources out there to research on. Yeah, take some time. Look up me. You know, look up who I'm running against. You know, you got Cliff Bear, you got Dawn Pierce, both of them. Haven't had the chance to meet Cliff Bear yet, but Dawn, she's a decent lady. Like her. Had a few conversations with her over the past couple of months. Heart's in the right place. I don't necessarily agree with her policies, but it's not like she's picking her position out of cruelty. You know, we got a lot of good candidates out there, a lot of them with their heart in the right place. A lot of them have had to grow up over the past 6 months as they've gotten out and talked to people. You know, understand what the real issues are. You know, understand what it means to be a real Idahoan. You know, because a lot of them have grown up in their own little bubble. You know, I still don't think Brad Little understands much more than what it is to be a sheep farmer.
Well, personally, he wouldn't even talk to Paulette. I told her I disagree with her on things, and she still had a half-hour conversation with me. Little wouldn't even have a conversation with me, just wanted to get away from me.
Yeah. And take time, figure out, understand your candidates, understand who it is you're voting for. You got 5 days left. It's plenty of time to sit down and actually do good research on them and make sure that they're the person you want to vote for. If you don't want to vote for me, I completely understand that. You know, some of the ideas I got about where I want to go with Idaho, they're rough. You know, they're not exactly refined. They're not smooth. They're the path less traveled. You know, legalization of cannabis in the state of Idaho. I want to see it happen. You know, fixing our Medicaid, you know, fixing our health care in Idaho. I want to see it happen. fixing our education in Idaho. I want to see it happen. Well, some of these are common sense, you know, the things that need to happen. You know, is it necessarily that, yeah, we're going to need some boxes? You know, it's not necessarily that my ideas are bad. You know, the things I want to see fixed. So my ideas about how to fix them, though, well, some people aren't too gung-ho on them. You know, I'm a big fan of getting rid of Common Core. There's some people who still think Common Core has its place. Big fan of getting rid of No Child Left Behind. Still some people think that No Child Left Behind has its place. I'm a big fan of getting rid of Right to Work. Some people still think Right to Work in Idaho has its place. Right, Lorraine? Prison reform. Okay, I don't have much time left here, Lorraine. But I'm going to cover this prison reform because I think it's a big issue. Okay, cannabis legalization in Idaho. Right now, 20 to 25% of Idaho's 8,000 prisoners in the Department of Corrections are in there for drug offenses. Most of the people who are returnees, you know, they're in to finish serving out a sentence because of parole or probation violations, were violated on drug-related charges. Usually, you know, because of marijuana, because of cannabis. You know, it was a dirty UA. You know, we go in, we fix that. We legalize cannabis in that state. They're not going back to prison because of dirty UAs, because, you know, they got high with some buddies. You know, they're not going into prison in the first place for getting high, for facilitating transfer of, you know, cannabis to somebody who's got a reason for it. You know, whether it's self-medication or just recreational. You know, right there, we eliminate 20 to 25% of Idaho's Department of Corrections participation rate, you know, which is, we move from 8,000 prisoners down to 6,000. Okay, yeah. That sucks for the private for-profit systems. Reason why is because now they're short 2,000 prisoners that they're making profit off of. Okay, but that frees up 1,000 beds in Idaho. There will be 1,000 empty beds in Idaho once those sentences are converted. You know, and they're back out, clemency, you know, they're able to go back into the community and get jobs because they're no longer felons. They can become part of the community again in a positive way. Yes, we do, Lorraine. The prison reform, it's a key issue of my platform, you know, but it's all tied together. You can't just fix one problem and expect all the other problems to just solve themselves. You know, it's all interrelated. You know, whether we're looking at for-profit prisons, whether we're looking at cannabis legalization, whether we're looking at education funding, you know, all of these go together because they're all of it's coming from the same pie. Same pie. We're going back to pie here. All of this is coming from the same pie, the same revenue pie. You know, we either figure out a way to make the pie bigger so that things can be properly resourced, or, you know, we find a way to, you know, reduce the amount of the pie that needs to go to certain places. You know, prisons, it's a big one. We need to fix the prisons. You know, right now we spend $500 million every year on our prison system. I think that's the number, 500,000 or 500 million every year on Idaho prisons in our Department of Corrections system. You know, anyway, right now, Idaho, we're number 13 in the United States for incarceration rate. And 8,000 prisoners in the state of Idaho in prison right now represents 13th highest per capita prisoner rate in the United States. Okay, that doesn't even take into consideration our Department of Corrections participation rate. We have the highest per capita Department of Corrections participation rate in the United States. We have more people on parole, on probation, and in prison per capita than any other state. Yeah, I don't know about you, but when somebody starts talking about gun rights and you realize that 1 in 20 of your neighbors can't actually carry a gun right now because they're a participant in the Department of Corrections, and they want to build more prisons. They do. They want to build more prisons. They want more prison slavery in Idaho. You know, given a choice between somebody who wants to empty our prisons and give people the gun rights back as they exist right now, or somebody who will give you all the gun rights you want, as long as you don't let them catch you smoking dope so they can send you to prison. I don't know, that's my personal bias. You know, I am more partial right now to emptying our prisons than worrying about, you know, whether or not somebody's going to authorize a stand your ground bill. Yeah, I'll fight for the stand your ground bill. But I'd rather have somebody in office that I know is going to approve emptying our prisons, you know, rather than somebody I know who's going to refuse to sign a legalization of medical cannabis in the state of Idaho.
And there's I used to credit it to Benjamin Franklin, but I believe it was actually Thomas Paine that said that it's better to have 100 guilty people go free than it is to imprison one innocent man. We don't follow by that philosophy anymore.
Okay. This one applies in so many ways. It's better to have 100 guilty men go free than to put one innocent man in prison. Keep in mind when you're looking at CPS with regards to that, too. Yeah. Because every one of those innocent children that are transferred over to CPS and foster care system, they don't stay innocent long. And that is one of the greatest tragedies of modern American society. The loss of innocence of our children. I understand the need to grow up. We all do. But regardless, there are some cruelties in this world we do not need to unnecessarily expose our children to. Anyway, that's my views on it. Thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate your time, Lorraine. Darson, you guys have a great evening. Remember, 5 days. We got 5 days. Talk to you later. Bye.